Countdown. Hello, welcome to another edition of the Willie Bragg Show. And I am here to, whenever there are people, whether I agree with them or not, if I agree with them on most issues and they take a take or a position that I disagree with, I will call them out on it. And of course, if I agree with them, I'm also going to call out on them in a good way, and that's to those on my to those my who are my fellow leftists. I'm a fair kind of person, and when it's done by a conservative, a libertarian, or far right winger, whatever shades of right that they're in, if they say something horrible, of course I'm going to take them up on it. If they are a stop clock given the right time twice a day, and they have a take that is actually positive, I will go and commend them. Doesn't mean that I agree with them. Doesn't mean that I'm about ready to embrace everything they embrace. But if they say something that makes sense, I will go and commend them for it. I am not too aware of this particular YouTube streamer by the name of Styxhexenhammer666. I mean, I know who he is. I've seen some of his videos, but I have not seen too many of them. I roughly know where he stands on the issue, but again, as I said, I mean, I'm in my corner of the ideological spectrum, and I tend to watch mostly people on my side. I do watch people from other points of view, other ideological areas. Whether they're too centrist, too conservative, too centrist, or even too far to the right, and it is what it is when I hear them. So I don't really have anything against Sticks Hexenhammer or what have you. I know he has some cringy takes on things, but I don't have any special dislike or vitriol bad will toward him as I would with someone like Ben Shapiro, or someone like Mark Levin, or someone like Candace Owens, or someone like that, Steven Crowder. You get the idea. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that he talks about a few days ago. He talked about Hasan Piker and Vaush being censored from Twitch, and and the thing about it is, I agree. It was bullshit that they were pulled off from Twitch. Had their channels shut down temporarily, for what I can tell. And of course, the Amazing Atheist having his, I believe, just one video that was shut down from the, what's it called? The Deep Fat Fried. And I know that the Amazing Atheist and Sticks are not too chummy, but, I mean, I do believe that he came to the defense of the Amazing Atheist, and with regard to the podcast on Deep Fat Fried. And I don't have issue with Sticks on that, but he commented on it, and overall I think he was 50% correct and 50% incorrect, or wrong as hell. And I'm going to play a bit from it, and I'll comment afterwards. Hold tight here. Okay. Put it on. Let me get a good speed on it, because it's a little long, and I if I can, I'll make it a little faster. Let's see here. Let me do this. There, that keeps me in the picture, so to speak. Okay, here we go.
All Alright everyone, we have a special video here, which is that Twitch went on a banning spree. We've seen a lot of those lately, we've certainly seen it on Twitter. Only this time it was aimed at people who are on the left, Hasan Piker and Vaush. Now, let's put this in perspective. My first inclination is to chuckle slightly. Hasan Piker has argued for tech censorship for years now. He is a hypocrite. He's got a multi-million-dollar mansion and pretends to give a shit about the working class. He's their working class hero. He's sort of like a John Lennon minus the vocal talent, I suppose. Vaush, of course, picked a fight with me before I even knew who the hell he was. This was long ago, like I think 2017 or 18 or something like that, when I non-responded to him, just pointing out that I wouldn't justify the breadliners by even mentioning these people, completely flipped shit and continued. His fans continue to this day because, you know, maybe not dealing with the highest IQs in the world, but I'm also not a hypocrite. When a big tech site, and Twitch is certainly one of them, decides to ban people for something that's fairly innocuous, I'm going to speak out against it because I have principles. In this particular case, they had used the term cracker as a racial pejorative. Now, as a white person, you know, you can see, do I care if somebody calls me that? No, I find it funny. The usage tends to be humorous and in some cases actually satirical. That being said, or other similar pejoratives, you know, you can think of a million of them. But when people use them, do I believe that they should be banned from speaking on other topics because they have used this particular pejorative? No, I don't believe that. Link in the description, by the way, you can see the reactions on this particular thing. I like to think that I'm one of the very few content creators who hasn't been so alienated by the pro-censorship crowd that I would stoop to the level of abandoning my own deeply held beliefs on the concept of censorship to not defend people who are, you know, at least, if not intelligent, at least notable content creators, based on them being abused by big tech. What I would say is I told you so. And this is a perennial sort of thing that I have to say. I've warned about all manner of things with regards to politics. I analyze these things for a living. I had been talking back in the early 2010s about a coming pandemic, which you have in the form of the demographic displacement virus engineered in China, partially with U.S. money. And I had warned people on the left who either did not speak out against censorship, which is more common, or spoke in favor of censorship, which is arguably less common, but it still does happen, that if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. If independent content creators, independent voices, do not defend one another when abused by tech billionaires, there won't be much independent commentary left. I'm still surprised, to this day. I don't understand why so many of these people refuse to get on new tech sites. I understand, well, your audience may say, well, it's just full of Nazis, it's an echo chamber. Well, I mean, you're on echo chambers. Twitch is run by people who, by and large, are far left. You're in an echo chamber already. It's just one in which people more likely agree with you to a greater or lesser extent. It's not helpful. Echo chambers tend to devolve over time. They either purity spiral themselves out of existence, or they become more heavily censored, so the creators are out of existence, or they devolve and they just shrink over time. You filled the lake. Now evaporation is occurring, and the lake is slowly shrinking. Well, it may be okay now, but, you know, 5 years, 10 years down the line, will it be? I play a long game. I will stick to my guns, and I will defend anyone who is treated this way by big tech. That includes, and by the way, I defended Hasan Piker, I think, 2 years ago. He had a Twitch ban, if I remember correctly. And there were some people that were mad at me. I said, I don't think that he should be banned. I realize there's hypocrisy. I realize that there's grifting. I realize that leftoids aren't my friends. They're not going to defend me. If I got banned tomorrow from Twitch, do you think that they would speak out on my behalf? Absolutely not. But that's not how I do business. I go by ideology, as opposed to by, you know, in-group echo chamber grifting. And I'm not going to abandon that just because people don't like me, and Vaush clearly doesn't like me. I don't think Hasan Piker probably cares who I am, but if he was aware of my content, also would dislike me now. There's always the caveat here. It is extremely likely that Twitch will bow before pressure from leftoid groups and reinstate them, which is wonderful. They shouldn't have been banned to begin with for an innocuous use of a term that nobody... come on. People don't really use the term cracker as a pejorative, generally speaking, in a serious context. That's horseshit. The idea that they do is nonsense. However, you're going to see more of this over the coming years, especially among people who are on the left. They've gotten comfortable because they've been part of the accepted in-group. They haven't really been targeted so much, certainly not as much as populists, libertarians, certainly not the ethnonats. And so they think that they can get away with saying things that are blatantly against terms of service. What you should be doing is fighting those terms of service and or migrating to other platforms that do a better job of platforming people, letting them speak clearly and frankly, and have their satire. The other day, great example, it has nothing to do with the Twitch bans. The Amazing Atheist, who, by the way, I will be making a video tomorrow chuckling about the fact that he blocked me in the last 24 hours. He has to take the L now for that. He had a YouTube video removed. They were doing a stream, and he was talking about COVID or vaccination and satirizing people who were anti-vax. Of course, speaking on the other end, I myself am not. He got the video removed. He is absolutely flummoxed about why the video would be removed and why the algorithms, because a human is not going to review them. I hope that he realizes humans no longer review YouTube videos, generally speaking. You're not in the echelon where you get a human review. Neither am I. Neither would be either of these dudes on Twitch. You're flummoxed about the fact that you have supported, explicitly now for several years, the idea of tech censorship. The Amazing Atheist to the point, where he supports the concept of a ministry of truth being set up by the government to actually look through content and see whether it is disinfo. You're expecting either government bureaus or robots built in some AI lab at Google or Facebook or whatever to properly be arbiters of what is or is not a joke. That's not going to work. There will be different, even if it's all human. Let's say they give you a human review. It's differential enforcement, my dude. And I'm sorry, but you don't have enough clout to weather it. Because you're not among the privileged class of people with tens or hundreds of millions of dollars in assets and who bribed a senator. If Klobuchar got her way and your Ministry of Truth was set up, you would be abused the same as somebody like me. The same as many others have been. You said nothing. For example, when Sargon of Akkad was kicked off Patreon for explicitly making a joke, a pornographic joke, with regards to actual Nazis, actual white supremacists, not ethno-nats, but the supremacist side of things. You said nothing. When Lauren Southern fired a flare in order to be able to see another vessel, probably for protective purposes to make sure they didn't fucking crash into the vessel, and, got banned off Patreon and other sites, nobody said anything. When Dave Cullen spread disinformation with regards to medicine that has now been partially corroborated, I said something. H.A. Goodman said something. Tim Pool mentioned it. I didn't see any of the leftoids say a goddamn thing. Even some of the anti-SJW left no longer says anything with regards to censorship. If you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And if you don't live by the sword, but you stand by and do nothing, you'll die on the sword the same way. I've been warning about this for years. They will probably be reinstated, but in the future, you may not be. In the future, you might get kicked off all of these platforms. What's going to happen? What happens when Hasan Piker with his multi-million-dollar mortgage gets kicked off of all the streaming services? Are you going to be able to make up that difference by saying, hey, I've finally decided to use Odyssey. Yeah, BitChute's actually not an echo chamber after all. I think I'll use that. Yeah, Rumble's all right. I know that evil Donald Trump is there, but I've decided to make a Rumble page. Here, let me make my Substack article talking about my experience with big tech censorship. And they'll cry and whine and play victim, and they'll pretend that there was never anyone there like yours truly who told you so. Told you for goddamn years to take more action. To fight against censorship. What fun would you have? Let's say you're on the dirtbag left, self-proclaimed, the greaseball left. Half of your content is about e-drama horseshit. Let's say all of the rightoids, as you would call them, all the people that you don't like and don't agree with get banned. What the hell are you going to complain about? And then when you get banned, if you spend your entire time pivoting to complaining about the sites that those people use, what kind of reception are you going to get when you actually go to use them? The fact is that 99.9% of the people watching this video, you don't have any corporate contract, you don't have a sponsor, you don't even have like a low-level ad sponsor, like a coffee company that sends you coffee so that you can drink it in your fucking personalized mug on videos. You don't have anything. You're part of the 99.99%, like all of the rest of us are, but you have thought yourself invulnerable against censorship because you figured that you would play a clean game, go by the rules, which in this case you didn't. The rules should be changed, but you did breach them, and you'll get banned. You'll be silenced, the same as everyone else. Because the big tech sites are moving towards becoming on-demand services, as Razorfist pointed out succinctly, I think half a decade ago. They don't have a place for you anymore. The old wave of YouTube with bum fights and Tourette's guys has fallen by the wayside. The old days of Twitch as being mainly people that were playing games and sitting there swearing the whole time. Now it's all people in lingerie who don't say anything political. They are very, very respectful with regards to anything that doesn't involve their cleavage. This is happening on multiple sites. Facebook is constantly getting pressured to censor people fucking more, and it can't possibly censor them more. We're to the point where Mark Zuckerberg is up against the wall. Jack Dorsey, by the way, leaving his company probably for the same fucking reason. Because there's no way to censor people more without destroying the websites. But they're still being pressured. They will throw you under the goddamn bus. So I have principles. I don't care that these people, they certainly don't ideologically agree with me. I'm well aware of the fact that Vaush especially fucking viscerally has a problem with me. Again, preemptively deciding to drag me. And then spurging again when my non-response, I guess it got under his skin a little bit. But he still has the right to speak. And by the way, and I'd say this to people that are taking a victory lap and saying, these hypocritical leftoids, they got banned by Twitch. You shouldn't be congratulating yourselves. You shouldn't be celebrating it at all. You've got to understand, when these people, crazy as they are, speak, they turn off more people than they ever turn on to their ideology. I hope they keep speaking. I wish they had more of a platform. I wish that they were able to shout from the rooftops nightly, because everyone who listens to the crap that they spew, especially in the ironic sense, the pro-censorship diatribe, would be turned off to the concept. And then they'd be clankers. They'd be looking at my content saying, well, I guess I'm going to watch Styx, because he did tell them so. That's about all. Peace out.
Okay, hold on a second here. Yeah, I am sorry for how long that was, but it was kind of relevant for me to play this. So, for starters, the couple of things I want to touch on. Styx, he's wrong for painting the entire online left as pro-censorship. If anything, most of the online left are anti-censorship, radical free speech people. I do think he was speaking in good faith in defending the free speech rights. I do think it came out of his conviction, but he's wrong to paint the online left as pro-censorship. Most people on the online left, as I said, are anti-censorship. They're pro-free speech absolutists. Now, I will go and do a little bit of nuance on the Amazing Atheist. Although he is pro-free speech, I do take issue with him wanting to create a ministry of truth. I do think he's misguided on like disinformation regarding COVID and all of that. And I know where he's getting at with it that your opinions should be protected, but actual information where your life is in danger, society's lives could be in danger, that should be not allowed to exist, what have you. And all I have to say is remember Iraq. Remember the lies that were told about the Iraq War that resulted in over a million people dying, in that war caused by Bush and Cheney. So free speech, I understand what he's talking about, that one little limitation, but I disagree with the Amazing Atheist there. I want to go and talk about okay, the thing about it is that he has, I'm talking about Styx, tends to have this, mentality I see on the right, that the left are all too afraid to go and debate them, so they go and shut down people's speech. Now, there's a lot of people on the left that does that, and again, not like the online left. The online left, a lot of them pro-free speech. But there are a lot of people on the left, overall, they're in favor of censorship, and there may be a grain of truth to that some of them are actually afraid to debate those on the right. But there's a lot of people on the left, they're like, hey, I would take you on the debate. People like Ben Shapiro will claim that the left are afraid to debate him. But when the left say, hey, we're ready to debate you, people like Ben Shapiro backs down every time. Sam Cedar and Steven Crowder were supposed to have a debate. And what happened with Sam Cedar Steven Crowder, he backed out of that debate. And the only way Sam Cedar was supposed to have a debate with him is by, kind of getting, sneaking into the Steven Crowder program, Louder with Crowder, which, it was a little underhanded, but it proved one point that Steven Crowder was too much of a fucking pussy to debate Sam Cedar. I'm not even like the largest Sam Cedar fan in the world, but, he will not debate Sam Cedar, because Sam Cedar, he knows that Sam Cedar will crush him alive with his intellect. And that's what it comes down to. The thing about it is, another area where I would say I am in total agreement with Styx is about the platform being as far available, open as much as possible. But he thinks that giving the left a greater platform will actually defeat the left in the long run, because the left's ideas are so, awful and terrible and stupid or what have you. And actually, no, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. As a leftist myself, I am not fucking afraid to tell people what I fucking think. And, and sometimes what I think may even offend some people who are also my fellow leftists. Again, I am so confident that what I believe is correct that go ahead, smear me. I'm talking about whether you're to my right or you're to my left or you're part of the center. I don't give a fucking damn. Go ahead, say what you will. That's where I stand there. So, news sites like Odyssey or I don't have anything against Rumble. I mean, my gosh, go on Rumble, go on all these places. Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols once said this in the 1970s when the Sex Pistols were ready to tour America, and it was something along the lines. So why did the Sex Pistols go and tour little towns in the South and Midwest instead of going explicitly to New York or Los Angeles or San Francisco, which they did go to those places? And Johnny Rotten said something to the effect of, "Go where you're not wanted. There's more to achieve." And in this very, very unfortunately center-right country, with a media that is not leftist. I mean, I don't give a fuck. A lot of them are socially liberal. If they're not willing to take on what's causing a lot of economic inequality, they're not true leftists. Although I'm glad that they're socially liberal. I'm talking about the mainstream media. But the thing about it is that just because I'm going against the grain with what I believe in, that in some cases people feel like it's not part of the American experience, I'm not going to let that dissuade me from doing what I need to do. So, and that's what it comes down to. So, and for the record, Styx, when Alex Jones was pulled down in 2018, I was highly pissed off. Yeah, I'm a nobody knows who I am hardly on the internet other than a few hundred people. But the point is that people who know me know I'm a free speech person, and a free speech absolutist. And I felt like it was bullshit when they pulled Alex Jones off the air. If they were to pull your channel down, I would still think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit to pull anybody down. I don't care who you are. I don't care what ideology you may have. I don't care. But to the point, I want to go and mention that, hold on here. Where can I find it? Right there. Okay. Let me put this here because there's commentary. More commentary. Quite contrary. No, not really. Oh, good Lord. Where is it? Right there it is. As you can see, what Shoe on Head said, and what's sad is hearing that the left is too scared to debate the free market of ideas for 5 whole years. Then finally seeing actual leftists who aren't SJWs want to debate, and 90% of the YouTubers who cried cowards in the past makes a weird excuse and pussy out. I think that was kind of blemished out of there. Point being that, give me a second here. Point being that that's exactly what happened. And so anyway, the thing about it is, I have nothing against Styx except for some disagreements on some basic issues or what have you. Well, I mean, he seems to be like an extreme anarcho-capitalist style libertarian. I mean, I think he might be socially liberal on social issues, but he is like offensively hardcore right on when it comes to capitalism and wanting to push the envelope in a very sectarian direction when it comes to anarcho-capitalism, that kind of libertarian thought. And of course, economic libertarianism offends me a great deal. So the thing about it is that on the issue of free speech, I would say that maybe in that commentary, Styx was largely correct, but again, he was wrong on some of these areas, making assumptions about the entire left as if the left is a monolith and they all think the same way. And I get a little shit from people on the left who get mad at me for being magnanimous, I guess you could say, when I don't sit there and shit on everybody who's to my right. I mean, there are people on the right I can get along with. I still think some of their ideas are dumb, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to sit there and declare them my enemy for it. And they're just as entitled to think that my ideas are dumb. I have conservative friends who think that I'm nuts for thinking the way I do. But the point I'm trying to make is that you know, he's correct for in large measure, but some of the generalization he makes about the left is absolutely very very wrong. So anyway, if right now we have a chat line here, Dirtbag Leftist, hey again, how are you? And Radical Leftist Agenda, let's see, I'm late, who is Styxhexenhammer. As he's a libertarian, hardcore libertarian YouTube streamer. I could go and send you some information on him when I get offline here from this commentary. But as I said, I don't have any like harsh, resentment or hatred towards Styxhexenhammer666 or whatever. I mean, he's hardcore libertarian, and that's okay. I mean, they got to exist, and I guess they have their place in society too. So, anyway, if you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree with what I have to say, comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel as a First Amendment absolutist. And as a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you to create your own platform and utilize it, because we're all, in fact, the muckrakers of our time. Feel free also to to subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, and make this channel exponentially grow. And until next time, I will catch you all later. Wishing you all Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Give me a moment here. And we'll conclude by saying, have a great evening.